feel is the key to the kingdom of horses. Using your feel, following the good feelings and using the crappy ones, learning to notice even the very subtle crappy ones and using them to change something, that is the key to the kingdom of horses. It's the magic ingredient behind every single great horseman or woman, and as you'll see on this video, it's completely learnable. The thing is, your feel is utterly unique to you. You can only find it inside yourself. You can't copy someone else's feel successfully, and when we try to do that, usually out of admiration for the other person's skills, that's the source of that horrible I am not enough feeling that I'm sure so many of us are familiar with. There's 5 broad ways of feeling, and we all feel our unique combination of those 5 feels that are our natural strength, our natural talent. You're going to hear me emphasising that over and over and over again. That tension and tightness in her breath that Dawn was experiencing even before she got in the paddock, I call that physical feel. And she was experiencing it for good reason. That little horse was terrified, and he was trying to communicate how scared he was. So by her noticing that and backing away each time she felt that tension and waiting for him to relax, Jo started to feel listened to. Each time she listened and took action on what she felt, Jo was able to relax just that tiny bit more, until a few minutes later she was able to walk up to the gate and still feel good. Then the gate itself was an issue. As he walked in, her tension increased and her breathing tightened again, so he had to come back out at the gate. And then Jo felt listened to, and he was able to relax just a little bit more. The more she paid attention to that tension and restriction in her breathing that was part of her unique way of feeling her horse, the more fear slowly dropped away from Jo. And it was only slowly, because this was one very traumatised little horse. Once you get the hang of the feeling listening thing, I expect that your own horse will respond more quickly. But hey, having said that, I had a horse in a clinic once where the lady had to walk all the way out a long driveway and a couple of 100 metres down the road before her horse realised that she really was serious about helping him with his fear and started to relax. It's not only tension and breathing. People who have physical feel as one of their natural strengths experience stiffnesses and aches and pains, and often they're not quite sure how they got them. There's a tendency to dismiss these stiffnesses and tensions as just part of life, especially when we're older. Well, yes, they are a part of life for very many people, and no, they don't always have to be. The tension and the discomfort caused by ignoring our physical feel can build up layer by layer until we're experiencing quite a lot of discomfort. I lost count a long time ago the number of people I've worked with who were in pain from ignoring a strong talent for physical feel. And when they started using that as the blessing that it is, the pain not only eased, it often disappeared spontaneously. If physical feel is one of your natural talents, as you get good at using it, you'll find lots of that old tension slipping away and aches and pains slipping away with it. And then you can use your physical feel to achieve a freedom of movement and harmony with your horse that will have you bubbling with feeling good. Let's talk about the anxiety part of Dawn's unique feel. Horses are excellent emotional communicators, and emotional feel, and what I call emotional feel, is one of the 5 ways of feeling for our horse, with fear and anxiety being the most common horse experiences. So whether it's them that get scared or you that get scared, if you don't know how to use your emotional feel, you'll be communicating that fear to each other and escalating each other, and it can be overwhelming for some people. If emotional feel is part of your natural talent, just imagine how beautiful it will be when you follow the feel-good feelings, and when it doesn't feel good, when your horse gets scared or you get frustrated, that you use those feelings for change so that you both feel good again. And that glorious feeling that first inspired you to want to be with horses, whatever that feeling you're looking for is, that can be your foundation. And can you see that when you push through that fear, then fear itself is the foundation of your relationship? Ooh, that's big, isn't it? No matter how faint that fear becomes with time, from the time the first person ignored it and pushed through it, fear became that horse's foundation of their life with humans. And thank God we can support them to release that. So if you're one of the people who get overwhelmed and emotional easily, you're not going to believe how easily this has turned into a superpower, and your horse is going to love you. Or are you one of the people who gets energy feel is so hard to describe in words, and those of you who have it as a natural talent will know what it's like to be misunderstood. For those of you who felt the sweet flow of energy, you'll know what I'm talking about. The other side of energy feel is this kind of pent up, stuck feeling inside. Like if you could just reach in and pull it out, you'd feel better. Or do you even get explosive with frustration? That's the stuck energy side of energy feel. When you learn to pay attention to and flow with the energy between you and your horse and direct that energy to get what you both want, that and how good both you and your horse feel will be the foundation of your relationship. And you dressage riders, that energy flowing between horse and rider, that is the circle of energy that all the great dressage masters talk about, that you can build into the joyful power of collection. Energy feel's also one of Dawn's natural talents, and she felt that clean, clear flow of energy between her and Joe in under an hour. That's the holy grail for dressage riders, and unless you're a specially gifted rider, it doesn't suddenly start in the saddle. For us ordinary mortals, it comes much more easily from using it in everything that we do with our horse, and then it can flow through to your ridden work so much more easily. Or if you're one of those people who can't sleep at night for the thoughts going around and around in your head, yep, you guessed it, that's a superpower in disguise too. I call this one mental feel. You are going to love how learning to understand and communicate with your horse can bring such a relief to the worrying and the sleeping habits. Thoughts and ideas that come with an expansive feeling of rightness. That's the experience of those people who have mental feel when they use it as the natural talent that it is. See, we just weren't taught how to use it as the talent that it is. Here's an example of Dawn using her mental feel. She just got the idea that Joe was afraid of her size, so she made herself smaller. That was her mental feel at work. That expansive feeling of rightness from acting on those thoughts and ideas, that feeling of satisfaction that all is well in this moment, that then becomes the foundation of your relationship. Ooh. And maybe biggest of all the feels that can become part of your very own superpower. Are you one of the gentle people who feels such despair and heartache at the terrible things that you see happening out there in the horse world? That despair and heartache is when your heart feel is in overwhelm. It's perhaps the most powerful force on earth for positive change when we're in balance. The heart feel is what we were talking about back at the beginning when we were talking about wanting to be the best that we can be for our horse. Using our heart feel means automatically looking behind a bad behaviour or whatever crappy thing is happening to see the truth of what's really going on. And when you get a handle on how to use this addition to your superpower is the one that has horses and other animals just turning over to you so easily. Or maybe when you were young, you got so overwhelmed that you had to disconnect and dumb your feelings down just to survive. That was me. Disconnection and numbness is a useful thing to be able to do when we're in overwhelm. It not only brings us relief, it can even stop us from going crazy when we don't know what to do with our feelings. But the downside of disconnecting all the time is that we disconnect from our horse too. We shut down this rich and powerful guidance system that is actually designed to bring us the deep connection with our horse that I'm guessing you yearn for too. One of the great gifts that horses bring us is that by helping us to get more and more confident with using our feelings as the guidance they're designed for, then it brings us peacefulness and joy and happiness in our other relationships too. And I know that one from personal experience. Now I've got you all inspired. Let's go and have a look at how Joe and Dawn found their first bubbling with happiness in 8 minutes.